Cool. Well, welcome everybody. I figure a few more folks might join us, but that's okay. They can just kind of hop right in. So first and foremost, I see a lot of familiar names and faces, so nice to see you all. Some of you, it's been a really long time, so it's really exciting to be back in the mix. Really excited to have Moody Mattan here to discuss all the exciting things that he's working on with BrandXR and the no-code AR/VR platform that they've created and recently launched. So we're going to be diving right into that in just a moment. My name is Jacob Smith. For those that don't know me, I'm here with my colleague, Brian Robinson, who's somewhere. I don't know what direction she is for you, representing the Altimetrik Collider. For those that haven't engaged with us in the past, we are a hub for software and other technical professionals, primarily in the Detroit region, but with the recent shift to pure virtual here, I suppose that we are serving anyone, anywhere that they are. So Matt, have no fear. We are still going to be providing you with beautiful virtual programming. But yeah, essentially what we do is we help technical professionals connect and grow in a variety of ways. So what that looks like is a lot of virtual programs, connecting folks to resources and to other like-minded tech professionals, and really just help you kind of keep ahead of the curve with technology. We're the community-facing branch of a larger company called Altimetrik that's actually headquartered in Southfield with a global presence, focused on digital transformation, so helping companies stay ahead of the curve with technology change and transform their business processes. So I encourage everybody to connect with us. If you haven't already, you can follow our social media channels. We're at Collider Detroit on most channels. We have an awesome e-newsletter where we summarize tech news and job postings and upcoming events and things. And a recently launched YouTube channel where this presentation, as well as past events that we've done, live in video form for all of perpetuity. So you can always find those links, and we encourage you to share and help us grow the Detroit tech community. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Moody, who's going to explain a bit about what he's talking about today, and really excited to see this platform in action. So take it away, Moody.
Thanks, Jacob. Hi, everyone. I know some of you, so thank you guys for popping in. For those of you that I don't know, my name is Moody Mattan, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of BrandXR. So I've been working on this company for the past 3 years, and kind of like through all of this journey, we have now built this no-code SaaS platform for building augmented reality experiences. So it's definitely been a long journey, and I know like a lot of you guys have been there along the way. So I just wanted to like kind of talk a little bit about that, talk about the product, kind of how it was built, and then also share some lessons learned. I know there's other fellow entrepreneurs in here who hopefully can learn from some of the mistakes that we've made. So I'm going to start it off with this presentation just to get everyone up to speed kind of on what BrandXR is and what we're working on. So here, let's see if I can share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
That's good.
Good. Okay, cool. Perfect. So,
and Moody, I should just mention quickly that if anybody has questions as Moody's going through the presentation, feel free to just drop them in the chat, and we'll work it in likely towards the end here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me just put this up here so I can see everyone. Okay, sweet. Great. So at BrandXR, what we've built is a no-code augmented reality platform, right? So today, we now do everything virtually. So I'll give you guys a minute to kind of like soak in this image, but I think this is something that we're all very used to by now. after kind of like months of COVID, working from home and learning from home and ordering food from home and kind of doing all of these things virtually. So we now do everything virtually. What do we do virtually? A wide variety of different things. So we can kind of see these virtual experiences seeping into a variety of things we do in our everyday lives. So virtual shopping experiences, virtual entertainment, kind of like with the rise of Netflix and that type of on-demand content, virtual games. The gaming industry has been kind of booming since the pandemic. A lot of people playing all sorts of games. I think like Fortnite's a big winner there that a lot of people have heard of. Virtual workouts. So I think like we're now taking more kind of like Zoom workout classes and virtual personal trainers and things like this. Virtual education and training. So all of the higher education is now kind of scrambling to figure out how do we go from, 100% in-person classes or maybe 90% in-person classes to now 100% all online classes, all virtual learning. And so it's a massive shift that's happening very, very quickly. And then of course, virtual marketing. And you can kind of see like the rise of this with Snapchat and Instagram's popularity. So these are some statistics on how brands are using augmented reality and virtual reality technologies today. So virtual shopping is one of the main use cases right now. And the statistics that back this up are pretty impressive to the point that they're almost not believable. So, brands that are using augmented reality shopping experiences are 11 times more likely, the customers are 11 times more likely to purchase versus traditional e-commerce. And they're spending 3 times more kind of like exploring the product, 3 times more time exploring the product, learning about its features, and kind of engaging with that product versus traditional e-commerce. And also, a lot of people think that AR, VR is kind of like this futuristic, far off technology that doesn't have a lot of adoption right now, and that's just kind of flat out wrong. So by the end of 2020, there's going to be 1.7 billion AR-enabled devices, and kind of like double the population of the U.S. is going to be the projected AR users by the end of 2020. So a ton of people have these AR-enabled devices. Like pretty much everyone walks around with a supercomputer, with a smartphone in their pocket, and that's how we're delivering a wide majority of these AR experiences. So this is another kind of use case of a single brand that's seen some pretty incredible results from augmented reality, these virtual experiences. So 19 Crimes Wine it is kind of a new wine that came out a few years ago. But this wine was kind of unique. Unlike any other wine, this wine had an AR app, kind of a companion app. And so you could download the app and scan the bottle, and it would tell the story of the prisoner who's on the 19 Crimes wine bottle. So there's 19 crimes that got people banished to Australia from Europe back in the day. And so these were the 19 prisoners telling their stories about why they got banished. But this is an amazing use case for augmented reality. I mean, this wine is like kind of a $15 run-of-the-mill bottle of wine. So it's like really nothing fancy about the taste or anything. But the marketing campaign that they put behind this was pretty incredible. So it generated over 750 million impressions. 4 million people actually downloaded this app to scan a wine bottle. And I think the big thing here is like the 250% increase in sales. And so I've even tested this out myself, you know, like here in the Metro Detroit area, going into like local party stores or liquor stores, and asking them about this 19 Crimes wine. And on more than one occasion, the store owner would come from behind the register and tell me, oh, you got to see this augmented reality app. You got to see this experience. He would come out from around the register and kind of like take his phone out and actually show me this. And he would do it because it actually got people to buy the wine, and kind of like tell the story behind the wine. This is a good example of how brands are using it for brand marketing experiences. The major problem that we've come along in our 3 years of working with AR and VR is that the tools required or the tools used to build AR and VR experiences today require complex coding skills. And there's kind of levels to these coding skills. So this is a screenshot of Unity. Some of you guys might be familiar with it, but even inside of the Unity engine, there's kind of like entry-level Unity engineers, mid-level, senior level, and then there's kind of like super senior level people that can really like make movies and make AAA sort of games inside of this engine. So there's really a very steep learning curve to learning this engine. So what about the rest of us? What about the rest of us who don't know how to code, who aren't going to invest the time, you know, getting ramped up in this steep learning curve? How can we build augmented reality and virtual reality experiences? So we know there's a better way, and we've been inspired by these other no-code tools that are out there. So Canva, I'm actually giving this presentation right now inside of Canva, so like really drinking my own Kool-Aid. Shopify is really like one of the big inspirations behind BrandXR, and I'll talk like a little bit more about that at the end. Let's see some questions coming through. Oh no, we're good. Okay, cool. So these are kind of our inspirations and what we were always drawing from. So, you know, we knew you could build a website using a Shopify or a Squarespace that looked beautiful and functioned beautifully, and you could ship it within a matter of days. And you could start selling in a matter of days, which is extremely powerful. So, you know, me, myself, I've built, as someone who has no idea how to code, I've built websites on Shopify that have sold millions of dollars worth of products. So very powerful tools that you can kind of have here. And so, you know, this was always the vision that I had behind the company. Like, why isn't there a Shopify or a Squarespace for AR, VR? It's too damn hard. It's too complicated. There needs to be something that's way easier. So that's why we created the BrandXR studio. So really kind of like what our platforms does is it gives you augmented reality superpowers. So you can go from having 0 AR capabilities on Monday to picking up the BrandXR studio on Tuesday and shipping your first experience by Wednesday. That's literally how fast you can build on our platform. So kind of 3 big things that our platform does. Gives you the tools to create, publish, and measure. So we give you no-code tools and even templates. So like Shopify or Squarespace has templates for building websites, we have templates for popular AR use cases. Publishing, you know, like through our enterprise services, through all of our kind of custom projects, we found out that like clients are very picky and they want to have a variety of different publishing options. One person wants to build an app, one person wants to put it on their website, one person wants to put it in an existing app, one person doesn't want any app, they want mobile AR. So it became very apparent through talking to these customers, and I'll get into that later. But that is really like why we had to add all of these different publishing options. So no matter which way you wanted to work with us, like we had a way you could work for us. And also we needed analytics. So everyone, if they're paying for this platform, we need to prove the ROI of this platform. We need to prove that these experiences are being seen by thousands of people and generating, the outcomes that the businesses want. So the measurement was very important. And this is also like some of our branding, to kind of give you an idea, like we're talking about Superpowers, and our background is in game development. Like this is kind of how we're getting this message across. So, you had no idea how to code, you had no idea anything about 3D or 3D models, or like Apple's AR Kit or Google's AR Core, kind of like these different technologies. But with our tool, it's kind of like an all-in-one package to give you the superpowers to build these experiences. And on the right here, what we have, like with this comparison chart, this is really like the big value proposition behind the studio. So from our enterprise experience, we've seen like the average AR VR project take about 100 days and over $100,000 for a team of 5 people to put together. So really like what we were trying to go for was kind of like a 10x value. Like when we're thinking of SaaS platforms and how to price things out and things like that, that was really one of the things that I had on my mind, was delivering a 10x value. So if a brand can pay $1,000 a month, kind of $12,000 a year, but the value of that project is over 100,000, then boom, we just delivered that 10x value, and hopefully this pricing is right. So this is kind of like getting into pricing strategy, but a lot of people ask like how we arrived to this price. And so it's kind of like talking to customers and also like value-based pricing a little bit. So this is actually kind of how it all started. So this was really like our first big customer and first big AR VR project we ever worked on. So we were super lucky. We had NASA's Kennedy Space Center as one of our first clients. They hired us to build out 3 VR experiences in their space museum. So this was kind of really when it all started. This was kind of like a big, fat, juicy project that we could like build the company on, like pay to set up like the LLC and C Corp and lawyers and all this stuff. So this was really like what the catalyst to kind of like get everything started. And some of like, even some of what we learned in this project, like for example, one of the things we built out was like a virtual tour for them. So some of that virtual tour tech and maybe not even the tech now, like the code is probably long gone, but I would say like the learnings from this experience still live in the platform and some of the things that we're doing today. This is another example. So of a customer project. So we've done 2 large-scale AR VR projects for Wayne State University now, and what that has done is really allowed us to kind of learn what higher education wants to see out of these AR VR tools, what they're using it for, and kind of like how they're exploring this space. So this is a great project here in Detroit. So I'll give a little bit more information. One of the projects was a 3D molecule visualizer. And this was for Chemistry 101 students, really anyone trying to learn about the molecular structures and bonds of kind of like the building blocks of life. So all proteins, DNAs, RNAs, and those molecules. So So that was one project with Professor Firestein at Wayne State University in the chemistry department and pharmacy department. And then another project that we did was building a virtual reality driving simulator. And this is being used to test the effects of drugs and alcohol on people's driving performance. So a little bit about the projects with Wayne State. And then kind of like last customer testimonial, this was with Patrick Kahn of Snap Gallery. So Patrick owns, he's kind of a famous art collector in Orlando. And what we did with him is we kind of put on a citywide immersive art gallery. So he had his own art gallery, and he has some ideas about taking the art outside, kind of like Pokemon Go style. And so that's what we jumped into here with Patrick. And so really like taking all of these learnings from these different enterprise client projects, and you can see, you know, they're in a wide variety of industries. So this was kind of like museums or theme parks. This was in education, and this is more in kind of like art or marketing. So taking all these learnings from a variety of different projects and different use cases and different industries and building it into the studio. But one of the cool things happened is we actually won this Telly Award. So I didn't even know what a Telly Award was until this year. But apparently it's a pretty big deal. And we won this for, this was the first year they had an immersive and mixed reality category. And we won this for an augmented reality mural that we did down in Orlando. It had some projection mapping on it as well. So I can share a link to that video for everyone to check out. This is just like some of the companies we've worked on or worked with. I think like the main thing to note here is like, sure, some of them are big, but like some of them are also really small. But there's such a wide variety. And that's like what is one of the most exciting things to me, is because I'm like pretty long on AR, VR, obviously. But like what you can see is that this technology is really seeping into every industry. So this Sundance is a printing company, City of Orlando, Fannie Mae, Wayne State in education, Rotary, this was a nonprofit, Avetex is a consulting company. So these are kind of a wide variety of clients. And so this link here is actually to sign up for the studio. I'll share this out with everyone after the fact. And I can share this presentation too. But yeah, I wanted to just like stop this now, and then I can answer some questions face to face.
Yeah.
And then,
looks like we've got a good one from Mr. Matthew here.
Yeah.
Can you see that in the chat? It might be just easier to read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's two questions in there. Zoom kind of.
Yeah, if you want to ask.
I'll just ask them live.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with bringing real world objects into augmented reality? And what I mean by that is like, who supplies the models? Let's say you go to McDonald's and they're like, hey, we want you to put, we're running the Monopoly game again. We want you to put like this Big Mac box into AR. Like, how do you get that into the space?
Yeah, so you're talking kind of about like the asset creation problem. And there's a couple different ways to solve it. So like some of the ways that we solved it was like we connected to large databases with like open source 3D models. So
like Sketchfab or something?
Like, yeah, so Sketchfab's a big one. So we're connected to Sketchfab, so you can pull down any open source, any downloadable open source model from Sketchfab. We're getting Google Poly connected. But but really like how, if you want like a precise model, say for instance, you're a baker and you make like these beautiful wedding cakes and you wanted to like 3D scan this cake to make like a AR shopping experience, for someone to like visualize what their wedding cake would look like. The process of kind of scanning that cake is called photogrammetry. And then you can also use 3D scanners. So we're going to be partnering with a company called Scandy. And they actually have a mobile app where you can create 3D models. So right now it's still pretty new. It's not like 100% bulletproof, but it will improve as the sensors and cameras and everything that gets put into these new phones will improve. So like, for instance, the new iPad has LiDAR. So like you're going to get pretty good scans with that iPad.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and the reason I asked that is because, it was a few years ago that I had this Tim Hortons cup. And I'm like, man, it'd be cool if I just made a USDZ file out of this. But I had to go and buy reality capture. Then I bought like, I set up like a green screen in the basement. And then I did like, panoramic views of it. And I was able to construct it, but it took a long time. And I'm just thinking like, for somebody who's using a no-code platform, they're not going to go out and buy all that equipment. And they're not necessarily going to have the skills to even operate the equipment. So, but you're right. I did see that about the LiDAR. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I would say like one of the easy ways like we get around that is just like we have kind of like 3D artists on staff that can manually create that stuff. So something like a Tim Hortons cup, like a 3D artist could build pretty quickly, like in a day. So if you want them to recreate like a nuclear reactor, like, yeah, it'll give them a lot more time, but like something.
You gotta get out the drones.
Yeah. So, but yeah, with theirs, and I can show you that in the platform, we have some kind of like connections to like request an asset, so you could like quote out. Like,
oh yeah, that's cool. Like a marketplace kind of or something.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
I got another one if I don't want to hog.
Any other questions?
I mean, so with the advancements in like USDZ files, and every year at the developer conference, they keep up in the game, right? And you're starting to see like some of the tools get baked into the respective operating systems. So like when Apple announced like, hey, drop a USDZ file, you don't have to download an app, but you can still see objects in 3D in AR. So I guess I'm wondering, like, do you still see a future where like app downloads are still needed? And I mean, the main driver is that is like most people I talk to, like they don't want to download an app. Even I have to like really sell it to someone, even if I really love the app, like they're like, I don't want to download an app. So do you kind of see that going away?
Yeah. So I do believe like web AR is going to be really big just because it's open, right? Like anyone can build an experience on web AR, and like you don't have Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook trying to like lock you in his garden, or like Google people doing the same thing, or Apple people doing the same thing, like like with what's going on with Fortnite. So that's what's beautiful about web AR is it's like it's on the web, it's on the internet, it's wide open for everyone. Like nobody controls. It's not like an app store, right? Nobody can like it's just open. So like that's why I'm bullish on web AR. But right now you can't build as powerful of experiences. So for instance, like the virtual shopping experiences where you're showing like a single model, and a lot of times it's like maybe one animation or two, but it's like not super complex. You can get away with using web AR. But if you wanted to do something like the nuclear reactor example and show like how this thing worked and all the different pieces and all this stuff, like you would probably want to do it on an app to get like the full experience.
Okay. So like if it's more immersive, there's still like a game, I guess. There's still a native.
Yeah, it's still pretty basic, the stuff that you can do with web AR. But I do see it improving. And there's a lot of people that like Unity and Unreal, they want to see that improve. So I think you'll see web AR, like you'll just see more and more coming out there in the future, because it is so open.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Yeah. Sure.
So I'm curious, and please feel free to chime in, anybody in the chat, or you can unmute and just start chatting. But I'm curious to know kind of in a bit more detail. So in terms of like on the how this got built piece, you know, I assume you guys raised some money. How many people are working on the team? You mentioned, I think it took a couple of years. So like how many engineers were involved in that process? And maybe could you even speak to, you know, what, you know, languages and protocols were used to build the platform?
Yeah. I'll pull up this page here. So this has like some of our lessons learned. But yeah, to answer your question directly, so this is kind of like getting to your point about like the fundraising. So we actually didn't raise any money for the company. We really bootstrapped the company. At one point, about 2 years in, we found one investor who invested $100K. But that was like after we were 2 years in. So the main way we kind of like kept going it is through these enterprise projects. So the enterprise projects kind of kept the lights on, got us working on AR/VR projects, got us talking to clients about AR/VR projects, and kind of like paid the bills, and also showed us like where people are willing to spend the money. So, you know, our idea was like, if a big brand was willing to spend, you know, a lot of money on us custom developing this experience, and maybe we can go find 100 more clients that kind of look like them, and you know, they want to do the same use case, then that feature or those feature sets could be integrated into the platform. But yeah, the platform, the kind of like team, well, I'll go a little bit into kind of like these, each one of these, and I think like it'll kind of like tell the story. But yeah, so this first one, all you need is a little match to start a whole fire. So this is actually from the Michael Jordan Last Dance documentary. I don't know if we have any Last Dance fans out here, but this was like really one of the cool quotes of kind of that whole series, and this was kind of like when the Bulls were down and out on their luck, and Michael Jordan came in as a rookie and really like was the match that started like the Bulls championship run. So the match that really started BrandXR was me leaving my previous company. The previous company I worked at was called Powis VR. It was kind of a startup I had started inside of a larger manufacturing company, and we were actually manufacturing mobile VR headsets. So we were a Google Cardboard provider, and what I realized was like our company was really good at customizing things, so we could customize the headsets and brand them. And so we were the cherry on top of a lot of VR marketing campaigns. And through that job, that's kind of how I worked on a lot of VR marketing campaigns. And people there would even come to me at the manufacturing company and say like, hey, can you build out this AR VR experience? And I was like, you know, I would love to, but like, we literally have no software engineers at this company. So it wasn't like in their wheelhouse at all. I even pitched this concept of BrandXR and a no-code platform to that older company while I was still working there, to see if they, you know, would fund this project. And it just like wasn't really in their wheelhouse, and they weren't really in the financial position to do it. So it kind of like, it was a mixture of me being annoyed with that company because I was telling them to go in one direction and could kind of see the writings on the wall, and like the CFO was just going a totally different direction. So I think it was a mix of me being frustrated with that company and then having this this idea of a Shopify for AR and VR experiences. And then I met Kunal, my co-founder. He's our CTO. He actually needed some VR headsets. And so he visited me at Powys, and he's actually from Orlando. So he said, come out to Orlando and see what I have going on. And we really like kind of hit it off. And that's the whole match that started the fire, was me really like making the leap, quitting my job, kind of like built up enough kind of like savings because I knew it was going to take a while to get this company off the ground. So kind of like built up a year of savings so that I knew I couldn't pay myself anything, and really like made the jump. And that jump was like not only starting the company, it was actually like leaving California and coming back to Detroit to start this company and do it kind of like in Detroit and Orlando. So that little match, you know, like the match was literally just me, you know, kind of getting enough like willpower and strength and courage to like quit that job and kind of like go off and do my own thing. And it's like one of the best decisions I've ever made, doing that and really like betting on myself. I think so. So yeah, so I think that like you hear a lot about these people in cushy jobs, and it's like, you know, how are you going to quit and go start a startup and get paid nothing for like multiple years? But now that like the platform is about to launch and things are coming together, you know, like that decision is now like paying off. So the second thing here that I'll talk about is cash is king. And so like it takes money to build a business. Like it takes money to make money. That's kind of old adage, but like to start a business, it really does like require a lot of capital, and especially if you're not going to be the one who's building out the tech. So like I'm not an engineer. I knew I was going to have to find engineers to help me build out the tech. So I kind of knew that I needed this war chest. I mean, you know, people might work for free for a little bit, but they're not going to do it forever. So eventually people need to get paid. So my strategy here was, I kind of like, when I had the idea for BrandXR, I was already in California. So it was like, you know, tons of investors around. So I was like, we literally didn't work on anything for BrandXR, but I was like, let me just float this idea to a couple investors and see what they think. And surprisingly, like people took meetings with me, and they're pretty interested, and they were like, yeah, you should try to build it. So, you know, talking with Kunal, we're figuring out how much it's going to take to build, and we were like grossly wrong. It costed way more. But what I came to the realization was, I don't think we're going to get investors fast enough to put money in for us to build this out. So I believe that like we need to go get real customers, and that's what's going to fund the development. So it's like pretty outrageous, like in Silicon Valley, for you to you know, kind of like start as a consulting agency and like working with customers and that sort of thing. But rather than like, you know, going out and raising like a bunch of money and then building the product. But this was really like one of the huge things that that's kind of like saved our company is like focusing on the customers, focusing on like always having a steady pipeline of customers to provide cash to be able to pay for the product development. So that was one thing. And then, you know, of course, like when you need to go out and raise the funding, you should go and do that. And so like, you know, now that our product is like fully built out, you know, there's still some small tweaks here and there, like a month or two of development we need on it, but it's like pretty much all built out. Now we can go and like bring outside investors in the company, and really build it out. And so kind of like to that point, like when you're bringing on investors in your company, you're really like getting married to these people, and you're really like bringing them onto your team. So at BrandXR, everyone tries out for the team. So it doesn't matter if you're a senior engineer, you're a VP of marketing, you're a new intern, you're a 3D artist, no matter who you are, you try out for the team. And just like in like a real basketball team, kind of like the best starting five will play. So like we, you know, as a startup, we only have so much cash. And so like we only want to have like the best players on our team that we know can kind of attack this. So just kind of like reading some of the questions now. But this, everyone tries out for the team, is extremely important. So like last year, we tested over 10 engineers, and right now we've kept like one of them or maybe two. So how we do this, everyone tries out for the team, is everyone gets a 1-month trial contract. It's a paid contract. You get put on a specific project. That project is like definitely under where we think your capabilities are. And we do that on purpose. So like we want, like you should knock your trial contract out of the park, sort of thing. And if you don't, that's when we know there's an issue. And then that's when we just don't continue to go down and continue working with that person. But this is huge. So like there's so many startups and companies that I see that are just blowing money on team members or contractors that are a terrible fit. So how you build this in is you let them know from the start, hey, this is a 1-month trial. If it doesn't work out, like no hard feelings on our end, no hard feelings on your end. You know, like you're just not right for our team. So that has been something that, you know, like we didn't necessarily do at first, but we definitely do now. And now it's like known that everyone tries out for the team. Doesn't matter if you're sales, marketing, even these investors that, you know, I'm talking to now, you know, like want to figure out a way to get them to try out as well. So if you guys have any ideas there, let me know. Yeah, so, and feel free to like jump in here anytime, ask questions about any of this stuff. The next one is getting intimately close with your customer in fighting for them like tooth and nail. So I think like at every company there has to be someone who fights for the customer and who is getting extremely close with them. So at BrandXR, I don't know how to code anything, so I'm not coding. So what am I doing? I'm talking to customers. And that's really, you know, like how I'm getting all of these insights and how, you know, like we're building out the roadmap and everything. So I would say like for a while, maybe for like a year when we first started, we thought we knew it all. We thought we knew what the customers wanted. You know, like we got NASA, you know, we were getting a couple big deals. Like we thought we were great. But like we didn't put in the hard work of doing all these customer interviews. So really going out and like talking to all of these customers and like, you know, documenting everything, writing it down and going through that like customer interview process. But we eventually did do that. And let me tell you, like, It's the greatest relief in the world when you go out and you talk to like 20 customers and they all tell you the same thing or close to the same thing. Because then, you know, you as a founder, you can kind of like take that back and start to, you know, segment your market, figure out what they want, and really like build out your value proposition for these people and build out the product. So that was huge, you know, like we kind of like found our ideal customer types. You know, we're focusing on large enterprises and also marketing agencies. And so basically went out and did customer interviews with over 40 of these people. And kind of like through this customer interview process, your roadmap and your priorities get extremely clear. And also what this does is it kind of like remotivates you that like, yes, the problem that you're kind of like dedicating your life to solving is actually a real problem, and people are like actually feeling the pain from it. So it kind of gives you the motivation, like you're on the right track, you should keep going. And now that I know, you know, like what these customers want, I'm always fighting for their needs. So like whenever our engineering team is telling me, hey, we can't do this, we can't do this, we can't do that. No, you know, like that's not how it's going to work. Like these are our customers. This is what they want. Like we need to deliver those features in order to meet their needs, and like always thinking about the customer first, not about our developers, because this is, of course, is a no-code platform. So I'm like the big kind of test dummy for our product. And then lastly, I would say never stop launching. So this idea of a launch being like a one-day thing, you should get out of your head, because you're constantly launching new things. So you're constantly launching new products, you're constantly launching new marketing campaigns. You know, like what you think is a beta launch one day, it, you know, becomes like your third, fourth beta launch of the year. And so like, I would say, you know, like really embrace this concept of launching. So like use the launch as a way to kind of build up a deadline and get everyone kind of rallied together around one single thing. So that's like really what I would think, how I would think about the launches. And so, you know, like I know a bunch of people, they've launched products to Product Hunt, and then they've heard crickets. And so like, and they get discouraged because of that. But that's like really not what you should do. I mean, Product Hunt is maybe like a little bit longer down the road. You should probably have, you know, like a solid amount of testing before you do something like that. But even on Product Hunt, like, I guess Product Hunt's a bad example because you can't launch the same product twice there. But you can launch, you know, like on your own multiple times. And so like you can send multiple launch emails and all this stuff. And kind of like people get excited about the launch. So I would definitely say like use that as a rallying cry. But yeah, I've been talking now for a while, so I'm going to be quiet for a bit, and then we'll see if there's any questions.
I don't really have any questions, but I just wanted to like introduce myself. I'm Allison. I'm formerly from the Baltimore area. I'm a recent graduate from Morgan State University. I am now an analyst at Untitled Ventures. So I literally just started like last week. So I'm new to the team, but getting to know everything. Kind of what my background has been in undergrad. I've done 2 internships at Intel Corporation in the Silicon Valley, working in their venture team. And I was conducting market research and, you know, shadowing due diligence calls. And I returned back to Baltimore for family reasons. And when I came to Baltimore, I kind of got integrated into the venture industry here and the startup industry here. And then I ended up joining Venture for America, which is kind of how I made my way to Invest Detroit Ventures. But something that I've always been passionate about throughout that journey was always like VR, AR. Like always strongly believed in it, especially back when I was at Intel. And, you know, there were people who did not believe in this technology. It was like, don't ever see a use case for it. But I always did see that use case for it. And some applicable scenarios that I've been able to actually interact with and use this technology is at hackathons. So I've been to 2 hackathons, one for the Home Depot and one for the NFL. And yeah, for both use cases, or for both cases, for both hackathons, my team and I came up with a solution to the problem that they were facing, and both solutions had to do with VR. And we had a kid who had a pair of Oculus VR glasses, and we had a kid who would code to allow the judges to be able to see, you know, kind of the product we were trying to bring to life. So it's really cool to see this no code product, because we'd be up for 24 hours straight trying to get this product to work. And of course, I don't have a technical background. I'm on the business side of things. So of course I'm here like trying to paint this image for like what we should be presenting and like this product we should present to the NFL and the Home Depot. And I'm not really understanding all the tech and the coding that's going to have to go behind it. And so it's really cool to see a platform like this. If the NFL, for example, last year when I was in Austin, Texas for the hackathon, had purchased your platform and we were able to use it to help build our product to demo it for the judges, like that would have been awesome. You know what I'm saying? So it's just really cool to be able to see this. And I totally believe in this and believe in you and your team, and it's really exciting with me. So yeah, just happy to be here. And
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, we're big believers in hackathons. So like we even put on hackathons ourselves.
Yeah.
To kind of introduce industries to like what they can do with AR and VR.
I think we might need to host a AR VR hackathon here in Detroit pretty soon.
Yes,
what do you think?
I think so. Oh my goodness, that would be awesome.
ID Ventures, BrandXR,
Yeah.
Altimetrik Collider, boom, let's make it happen. Next month, we got it.
Oh yeah.
No, I think yeah, and to your point, like you've like quote unquote felt the pain, right? So you felt the pain of how hard it is to build one of these like AR VR experiences.
Yeah.
And so when we were doing like I was talking about doing these customer interviews, that was one of our criteria, was like, these people have got to feel the pain.
Yeah.
You know, like we only want to talk to people who have like scratched the itch and tried to build these things themselves. We don't want to talk to people who's like, oh yeah, that's easy, and like, you know, they don't have no idea what they're talking about. So like, yeah, it's cool to, you know, cool to see like you tried to scratch the itch, and you know, you felt how hard it is.
It's really funny because the first hackathon that I was at for the Home Depot, we were able to have like a pretty successful demonstration of the product. For the NFL, the demo it just didn't work. There were some technical issues, and they were just kind of like, you know, so it was interesting because like for the Home Depot one, we actually won the competition, and then the NFL one, we lost because it was kind of like, oh, if this is hard for you to demo, then of course their initial thought is like, that's probably a lot of capital to try to get this to work, and we don't really see it. So this is really, 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 really cool to me. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Nobody has anything else? We can hope everybody enjoys their evening.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for setting it up. Super cool.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jacob.
Yeah, of course. It's all Ryan. I give Ryan all the credit.
Yeah, Jacob and Ryan, thank you.